The first step in a one-sample t-test procedure is to find the parameter of interest. This is what the experimenters want to know. For us, we wanted to know the true mean number of questions an EVHS senior or junior will get right on the hardest quiz from BuzzFeed. To account for other confounding factors, we looked at only the first 5 questions, so that question difficulty wasn't a variable. However, our results still might be inflated because there were other activities, and students might be only inclined to take this test because they were better at taking the test, thus inflating our average. The next step in a one-sample t-test procedure is writing down the hypotheses. The first hypothesis we need to write down is the null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis tells what should happen under the circumstances that everything is left up to chance. For us, it was 2.5 questions, and we came up with this because of the expected value for our specific experiment. To find the expected value, we divided the number of questions by the number of options each question had, which was 5 divided by 2, which gave us our 2.5 questions. To find the next hypothesis, which is the test hypothesis, we determined or predict that the student should get more than 2.5 questions correct on average, and thus we have...
Next, we will do the A step. So in the A step, we have to check 3 conditions: randomness, independence, and normality. So first, since we use the convenience sample, we can assume we have to assume randomness. Next, to check independence, we use the 10% condition. So since we know that 10 times 30, our population, is less than the total number of EVH students, we know that we have independence. Next, invoking the CLT, meaning that since our sample size is greater than or equal to 30, our sample size is approximately normal, and since we have checked all 3 conditions, we can use T procedures. We name what test we are doing, at what alpha level, and how many sides it has. So we say, I will do a one-sample t-test at the alpha level of 0.5 that is one-sided.
We then went on to sample. No teachers, Atri. Now that's more like it.
Next, we will do the T step, and in the T step, we actually do the test. So we have our T value is equal to a statistic minus the parameter over the standard deviation of the statistic. So since we know that our statistic is x bar, we take our x bar is equal to 3.4. We take that minus our mu, which is 2.5, over the standard deviation, which is 1.00, over the square root of 30, since that's our sample size. And so what we get from that is our t value is 4.30 from our calculator.
The O step is the next step in the Phantoms procedure. The O step involves interpreting what the t value is, and we do this by finding the p-value. To find the p-value, we first draw the sampling distribution of x bar, and we do this by firstly drawing a standard normal curve and then labeled it as x bar, t, and then p. We then find our center line, or a standard deviation of 0, and call that the mu value, or the null hypothesis, which was 2.5 questions for us. Then we find out the x bar value for our sample population, which was 3.41, and find the corresponding t value, which we did in the previous step, which was 4.30. Then we can either use a t-chart or our calculator, which is what we did, to find out that the approximate p-value for our experiment was approximately 0, and we remember to shade that in. And we also remember to write down the degrees of freedom for our specific experiment, which was 30 minus 1, or 29.